Hello everyone, Chris here with Platinum Reviews. I'm doing a kind of sort of review on Antstream, the streaming service for retro games. Antstream, I got a code for it. A little bit weird with the interaction with it. I got the code for a 12-month subscription. A 12-month subscription costs about $40. So if you're wanting to play it for a whole year, it's going to run you about 40. If you want to play it for a lifetime, you can get a lifetime subscription of it, and that would run you $100. But after getting the code, I didn't work. You also had to get a code for the actual game itself. So I feel like there is a separate cost there, and I'll kind of explain that in a little bit. First off, when you boot up Antstream, you'll notice the UI is atrocious. It is really hard to see games on here and search for things. It just is, it's all over the place. It would be better if it was kind of set up by systems and stuff like that. Instead, you have fighting games. And even some of the stuff that you're searching, I had this a few times where I'd be searching through it. I would see it in the scroll option. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is Earth Defense Force, I think it was. I was like, oh, cool, I got Earth Defense Force here. I went over to show all, and Earth Defense Force was not showing up in the shooting category or whatever. So they're broken up by genre and not by actual system. You can search the actual system, which I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, you can't search it by the system itself on the screen. It's just by genre. There's a lot of games here. There's over, I think, 1,300 games. And every single month, they're going to add new games. So there is some benefit to getting it long term. However, I think early on, there is not a lot of options of good games. There's decent games. There's one or two games here and there where it's like, oh yeah, man, I used to love, like, my friend had a console. He had a arcade cabinet in his room of Bad Dudes and Renegade, and I used to play it all the time. I booted Antstream up, and the first thing I saw was Bad Dudes, and I was like, oh my gosh, went down memory lane. I played Bad Dudes for about 5 minutes, and I said, oh man, this game is not as good as I remember it. And that is a lot of this. It's games that, you grew up loving, one or two of these. And I don't see myself wanting to spend, $40 a year or even $100 for me to play these games over and over again. They're gems from my childhood, but not gems where I'm going to want to play them continuously. Now, the games run really, really good. I did not run into any issues. I played a few hours, and yeah, I didn't run into any problems at all. I tried multiple things, and you'll see on this video, I did a few things where, I tried to save a game. The save, if you go to save, you can't actually save the game that way. You have to scroll over to one of the plus signs, and you'll see it. Quitting a game, exiting the game, loading up a new game, stuff like that. It all works really good, and I had no issues with any button input lag, anything like that. It runs very, very good. Just overall, though, I feel like it's not worth the price. You'll see up top too, and I'm going to show games like Metal Slug, and Metal Slug is one of those ones where it's like everybody loves Metal Slug. Except my wife, she didn't know what Metal Slug was. I was like, what? You'll see up top, though, there's different trending games. You'll see what games are trending for the day. You also see challenges. So you can do community challenges with other people that are also playing Antstream. And you can do these challenges to get the gems. Those gems can be used to unlock avatars, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, but it's just in-game stuff. You can also use those gems to kind of gamble and try and get more gems. You can be like, hey, I challenge you to this game. I think I can get a better score. And then you can use that to, get more gems. Overall, though, there's not really too much there. I don't see myself going to try and gamble away gems because it doesn't really do much. I feel like if those gems help me unlock other games, I think that would make it to where I'd be like, okay, I want to play this more so I can unlock this game and stuff like that. But all the games are unlocked with the streaming service. And I think at the same time, if I'm spending $40 a month, I better have all the games unlocked. So you'll see how I did a Giant Slayer. I died because that was my first time ever playing that game and I had no idea what I was doing. So you can do those challenges. I did one for Metal Slug and I actually beat the boss and I was like, cool, because I beat the high score that, or what it wanted you to do. So there's really cool things that you can do and there's a lot of replayability here, stuff like that. So overall, like the games you get to play and stuff are cool, but I just feel like the amount of games you do get to play, the type of games, not the amount because there's a lot, the type of games you get to play, it just isn't there for me. And you'll see in this video, I pulled up PlayStation and I searched PlayStation and I wanted to show this because there is like 6 PlayStation games. So for them to even have PlayStation as a category and have such a very, very piss poor collection, it's kind of sucks. Another thing, and I completely understand why they don't, but another thing you'll notice is Antstream does not have any games licensed by Nintendo, any games licensed by Sony's, like any big publishers, it seems like they don't have the games for. And I understand it probably would cost a lot of money to be able to put that game on the platform, stuff like that. But that is something that you can kind of expect, that if you do decide to get Antstream, more than likely you're not going to see any Sonic games. You're not going to see any Mario, any Final Fantasy, nothing like that. So there is that disappointment too, because what if I want to go back and play one of the games from my childhood that I used to love, Buster Bust Loose on Super Nintendo? It's not there. Daffy Duck, Duck Dodgers in 21st Century or whatever it was called, that's not there. There's games from my childhood that I used to love playing on Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo selection is just laughable. There's 1 or 2 really good games in there, or I wouldn't even say really good games, 1 or 2 decent games like Star Wars and stuff like that. But overall, there's not any games that me personally I loved. And that was a huge disappointment for me. I think with the cost and everything, I just don't see it being worth it. Now, what I was saying before, and I'll pull up PlayStation so you can see the amount of PlayStation games. But what I was saying before is I got the code for the game for the 12-month subscription, and it didn't actually unlock the service for me. I had to get a separate code. That separate code unlocked the service, so I could actually use a subscription on there. So I'm not 100% certain if you press the $40 to get the actual service, if you then have to pay the $40 for the yearly subscription. I do not know if that is included with the purchase of the service. I want to say it's not because I had to get 2 separate codes, but don't quote me on that. So if you do decide to invest in this, and if this is something that you're like, oh man, Glover, I have to play that, then just be warned that there is that possibility if you do purchase it that you might have to purchase the yearly subscription again. So that instead of just a $40 purchase, it will end up being an $80 unless you go with the lifetime. Like I said, they are going to be adding monthly games, so that's really cool. And I do think this has potential to be something awesome. I definitely see this service being something that would be, you know, in demand and everybody would want to play. I just think they need more games of higher caliber. I'm not necessarily saying get Mario or anything like that, but you know, the fact that PlayStation literally has only these, there's no Army Men, there's no Gex or Croc, you know, games that people love. We don't have it other than Glover. So overall, I think, Antstream is a decent service. The games run good. There is some benefits to getting and playing Antstream. I would probably suggest looking at the entire game list, which is available on their website, before deciding to make that purchase, because it is a cool, pretty penny in this day and age, especially if you're trying to, you know, buy new games or go for the PlayStation Pro. It's a pretty penny. So, you know, save your money. Be sure to check on the list of games. If you see 1 or 2 that you do like, kind of check back in a month or 2 and see what else they've added. I think there is some benefits to getting this though. So let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comments below. This is Chris with Platinum Reviews. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Platinum Review goodness. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.